Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Potter Projects. So this episode I'm going to be showing you how to make these paper wands. They're really cool and they're really good like party ideas because, well, we had Potter Bash last month and one of the activities we did was we made paper wands, and it was a lot of fun because it's just like a fun thing you can do as a group while you're watching the movies if you want, which is what we did. So I'll be showing you how to make these. Now, pretty much full credit goes to my buddy Jo. She's got a channel on YouTube. I'll leave a link down here. She showed me how to make these. Now, she got the idea from a website, but she's the one that perfected it and showed me. So I'm giving her credit for this. Anyway, so the supplies you're going to need is going to seem like a lot, but once you buy them, you can make like 20-30 wands with them. So it's actually not that much. So what you're going to need to make your paper wands is, I know this is going to come as a shock, but paper. You're going to need paper. For this one, I use construction paper, and it brings you more of a thicker wand, which some wands are thicker. With just a regular paper, you get a thinner one like this, which is also really kind of nice. So it depends on what you like, thicker, thinner, whatever. So paper, hot glue gun, paintbrushes, paint, scissors, some number 2 pencils, clay. It doesn't matter really what kind of clay you use, I don't think. You can use the kind that hardens, the kind that doesn't, the kind you bake. Doesn't really matter. Colored, whatever. Doesn't matter. Double-sided tape. White Elmer's glue. Now, do not get the washable kind, because it just won't work as well. White Elmer's glue. And last, but certainly not least, because it's important, you need this clear acrylic sealer, because it will make sure that your wand doesn't scuff or anything like that. Oh, I recommend finding a wire basket like this. You can find them at the dollar store, Walmart, doesn't really matter. A lot of this stuff can be found at the dollar store or at Walmart for really cheap, especially right now because they have school supplies out. So, but I would suggest you get one of these. But these are probably optional, I would say. So, let's get started. So, to get started, you're going to start with your piece of paper and a number 2 pencil. Oh, and your double-sided tape. So, you're going to want to put your number 2 pencil on the corner of the paper and make sure one end is a little farther this way than the other. And you're going to take a piece of double-sided tape and put it right on the other side of the pencil here. Now, you're going to start by rolling the pencil in the paper. Now, one key thing is to roll one end tighter than the other. So you got to watch your fingers and how they kind of work on the paper. And just roll one end a little tighter. Usually I go with the end closest to me. It just works better. And roll. Until you have about that much paper left. That's when you yank out your glue. Now, you take your glue and you glue all over this triangle. So it's covered in glue. And then you just finish rolling and roll this kind of tight because it's your end, and you don't want it coming undone because it holds the whole thing together. Now, one thing you guys are going to realize real quick about these paper wands is you're going to get messy. Your table, so I would suggest putting out some paper or whatever you want on your table if you don't want to damage it, but it is white Elmer's glue, so it kind of just rubs right off. Now that you have your end glued down, take your scissors You decide how long you want your wand to be, and you just clip off the ends. Now, I like my wands pretty long, no jokes. So I just usually clip off just the very tips of the paper. So now that you have your length and your end glued down, you're going to take your bottle glue, and I usually do the top half first. I don't really know why, I just do. And you're going to take and you're going to put glue on it, and you're just going to rub the glue all over the wand so that you get every inch of your wand covered in glue so it stays down. Right, now here's where your wire basket comes into play. While your upper half is drying, you stick your wand right there, and it holds it up, and so it doesn't get, glued to your table, which is always a good thing. So let that dry for a few minutes. Now, seeing as how it's just Elmer's glue, it dries pretty fast. So you just take your glue and you do the other side. Wah! And spill on your table. If you're a cool kid like me. You just want to make sure that your entire wand is covered in glue so that none of the paper can come up. And then the wand will start unraveling on you, and no one wants their wand unraveling on them. I mean, let's face it. Alright, now that your glue is dry, you just shove that off that way. And it's time for your clay to come into play. So, take your clay and you stick it down into the ends of your wand. This is just to fill in the gaps of the wand and to give it a little more weight. Now, I use a paintbrush. Joe showed me using a chopstick, but it really doesn't matter what you use. Now you're going to fill in the clay, leaving just a little bit of a gap between the clay and the end of your wand, so that there is a little bit of a space for you to fill in. And I'll show you a little bit what we're going to be filling it in with. Now the other end of your wand, the wider end, usually takes a bit more clay to fill in because there's usually a lot more space in the other end. Since you start with the pencil down at that end, it usually takes a little bit more clay to fill this space in. But you want to make sure you push it down in there so that your paper right here is filled out and there's no gaps or anything, so that when you hold it, you're not like able to squeeze your wand and kind of misshapen it. Little too much clay. Alright, so my wand is filled in. If you can see my cats back there, just ignore them. They're evil and rambunctious. And anyway, so both ends are filled in with a little bit of kind of a bowl gap thing. So now we're going to go fill it in. We have to move, so come on. Okay, now that we're over at our glue gun station, you're going to take your glue gun and you're going to put it right in the top, and you're just going to fill that in with glue. And once you get a little bubble on top, like that, you let it sit and dry. Make sure you get it all filled in though, unlike what I just did. So, and then what was suggested to me is once you get your bubble, you kind of take and you let it dry while you're twisting it like this, so that it kind of has a chance to kind of move and fill in and dry evenly. And another nice thing about hot glue guns, they dry really quick. So once you've given it a few turns, it's ready to tip over and do the other end. just take it, twist it, kind of take the end and push it together just so you can make sure that all that glue is getting in there. And twist, and twist, and twist. Sounds like I'm making a workout video. So, once you have both ends filled in and it's dry, we move back over to where we were, and we're going to paint. Now, your painting process, much like your gluing process, is kind of a two-step thing, because you have to do one end, let it dry, and then do the other end. So, I'm going with this coffee bean brown. Though there's so many browns out there in the paint section, and blacks. Like, I did this one black, and then these are a lighter color brown, like a lot lighter. Now this one I'm doing a little darker, more like most ones you see in Potter. So I have these really cool cups that I actually got from just like a craft store or a party store, like a dollar store, and they come in like a huge pack, and they're really, really convenient for when you want to paint, because they're washable, but if you don't even feel like washing them, they're disposable. So to paint my wands, I usually prefer a bigger brush because it works a lot quicker. So you take your wand and you just start painting. Now you are going to want to paint over the glue bubble on the end of your wand. And I would do a thick layer of paint, and possibly you might even have to do 2 coats, because sometimes the paint just doesn't cover the paper, you know, well enough the first coat, and you can see that there's paper underneath, and then it looks kind of weird. So and usually if you paint in kind of an upward motion, it almost gets that kind of wood grain look to it. So I always paint kind of upward. And you want to make sure you have good light, because sometimes if you don't have good light, you can miss a spot and not realize it until you're done. And then that kind of sucks, because you either have to live with a wand that has a weird spot on it, or you have to go and backtrack and redo it. And who likes backtracking? Really? So, you're going to want to leave some space unpainted. Bring out your wire basket again and set it down so that it can dry. So as soon as this is dry, we'll come back and we'll paint the other half. This is usually what takes the longest in making paper wands, is paint. Acrylic paint does take some time to dry. So this is what's going to take you most of your time making a paper wand. Alright, now that your wand is painted and dried, it's up to you to get really creative. This is where the really fun part is. So you can either leave your wand plain brown, black, whatever color you make it, or you can decorate it. You can use just paint, like I did on this one to make the stripes. I made this for Shayna. She requested a black wand with 4 green rings around the one end. So, or you can use clay and then paint the clay whatever color you want, like I did on this wand. Or you can use a paint marker, like I did on this one. Or I decided to try something a little new. I got a ton of this wire for really cheap at Ben Franklin. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around the one end down here, and wrap a lot of it around it, and kind of make almost like a Sirius, or no, is it Snape? I think it's Snape looking wand. So, and then I think I'll paint the wire black. So I'm going to do this, and I'll get back to you guys to show you how it turned out. I strung my wire around the top, painted it black. To get the wire to stick, I just used the hot glue gun to first glue it to the wand, wrap it, wrap, and then I just use the glue gun again to glue the wire down, and then once you paint it, you can't see the glue. So finally what you do, once you have all your paint on, all your accessories on, is you're going to want to take the clear acrylic coat and put it on. But I suggest you don't put it on inside, because I did earlier and Connor and I almost got high. So come outside with me. So what you're going to do is you're going to spray the whole thing. You might have to do one half and then the other half like you do practically on the whole thing. But you want to spray it and make sure you get an even coat all over it, because this will keep your wand from smudging, from getting all scraped up and everything else. So, and it's going to keep it all kind of together. So there is my wand. So that's how you make a paper wand. Like I said, they're really fun, they're really easy, and in like a party setting, it can be a blast. So I hope you guys have fun making these, and I'll see you next time on Potter Projects. Bye! Finite.